Hello, hello, hello. I'm Andrea Stevens,
And I'm Jeanette Mejias, and we are Wed's Women.
where exposure brings strength. Welcome to whatever number episode this is. And I usually know the number. What are we at? 110? Somewhere around there.
Yes, 110.
110, 110, 110. Okay. All right. Well, tonight is tonight, baby. Woof. I was going to sing a song, but I'm not.
Yeah, I can tell you're all fired up. It's going to be a good one, so let's roll.
I am fired up because I can't wait to hear all this shit that's going to come out.
Okay.
We have two guests, two of my faves. We have Rosann, who is in New Jersey, owns Celestial Acres. I posted tons of pictures of the farm, and my BFF, Carly the alpaca. She owns the Carly, and she is my favorite. So, Rosann, welcome. Glad to have you here
Thank
from
you.
the New Jersey. And then I got my BFF, Adrienne. She is here from good old Niagara Falls, New York.
Ooh.
Yes. And tonight, yes, this is going to be, well, educational. Educational.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And if there's any listeners under, well, 18, this could be rated R. So there's a forewarning in case under 18 are listening or you parents that don't want your kids to listen. But they probably should because this shit's real. So we're going to talk tonight about, this is a topic that I've been kind of having a discussion with a lot of my friends for the last year. I have had many people, I guess, say to me, Andrea, why don't you go online and date? Why don't you go? And it is just not me. It's not me to talk to multiple people. One person is the only, I can handle one conversation at a time and figure out, is that someone that I could chat with further or not? Right. I can only, and I'm somebody that would wait it out for months and months and months to see if something would happen. And if not, then I have to get it all out of my system and process what happened, why I waited, why this. I go through the whole process in my head, right? And in my heart. And then I can let that person go. And then I might be able to talk to another person, right? But I've always been that way. So I was always curious on go online and date. And I'm thinking, oh, God, no, not for me. But the stories that I started hearing from all of my friends, very entertaining, I have to say. But what I really want to know is like how you did it, what has gone on. Everybody really, I think, wants to know, what do you see out there and what is happening? Now, Rosann, I'm going to start with you because I think you went through Adrienne is going through it currently too. She has gone through it in the past. She's going through it now, but you went through it and you're at a different place. For you, you're in a relationship and it came from online dating. So what I want to hear though is all the juice before this shit happened. That's what I want to know. So when did you start and why did you think it was a good idea? Let me go there.
All right. Well, I've been divorced now it's going on 10 years. I held off for a little while. I was a manager at a restaurant and all the kids were talking about Tinder at that time. So we're talking like 9 years ago when it really was only Tinder was pretty much the only option. And I was like, all right, let me try it, just for shits and giggles. And then came, the other one was, the fish one. What was it called? Plenty of Fish. I never tried that one. But so that's how I got started, just because everybody was talking about it and I was just curious. And I did meet one person, and from the very beginning, I learned my lesson. Literally drove 45 minutes to meet this guy. As I was pulling off the exit, I get a text from him saying, "Hey, babe, I'm going to be working late. Don't bother calling me. Love you."
Wait a minute. Was the
Wait,
proposal
wait.
sent to somebody else?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
that-
text him back. I can't wait to hear this story. I'll see you soon. I made him pay for dinner, pay for dessert, and it was a fun night, I gotta say. But he was like, oh, we're in a long distance relationship. I don't know how to break, can't take it anymore, blah, blah, blah. Never saw him, never spoke to him again. But that's the kind of guys on
Oh my.
online dating.
That was one. That was the first one.
That was my first.
So did you stop after that?
No. It just like ignited the spark. I was like, I gotta find out more about these guys. Yeah, I had guys offer, me money to meet them at hotels. I've had guys, I'm sure you have kids to, that could benefit from, $500. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Jesus.
They're using fake photos. At the time I started using other apps. Yeah, they'll put up fake photos, they'll put up fake names, fake profiles, do whatever it takes. So you really need to know how to weed through and see the flags, what questions to ask. Now with AI, I can't even imagine how people are doing it now, because it is so. Back then there were guys like changing their licenses, like photoshopping licenses, because I was like, prove to me that's who you are, that's where you live. And they're sneaky. And now with AI, I can't even imagine how easy it is for these guys to and they're not always guys. They're like, there was one time I was talking to a guy for like a month, and I was just finding it curious that like no matter what time of the day, he was always there to write me back, which I thought was odd, And so then I'd start to ask people like right off the bat, get off the phone. I wanted to get them on the phone. I wanted to hear their voice. I wanted to make sure the pictures matched up with the voice and stuff like that. Because there was one time that I spoke to a guy, like I said, for a month. And then I started catching on, like he was spelling things wrong, or his grammar wasn't completely right. It ended up he was impersonating a soldier, which was back years ago. It happened a lot to a lot of people. They would take photos of soldiers, and they would scam women out of money, because they would say, I got deployed, I'm lost out in the middle of Africa, please send me money. And these women were sending money. And I was so determined to find out who the actual soldier was, that this guy had taken his images. It took me about a month. I located him on Facebook. Of course, now he doesn't have any photos up online. And he was nice enough to explain to me. I sent him a private message, and he said, there is a group out in Nigeria that hires people just to scam people on dating apps. So they will be up all night long responding to your messages, and that's why it's like they're translating it, so it's not always perfect English. He's like, they've been using my photos for 4 years. There's no way I can take them back. There's nothing they can do. They can't be traced. He's just like, I just have to now be more careful.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think also the military's now told, people don't post your photos up with your names and stuff. And so that was one lesson that I learned. There's a lot of scammers out there, and
I can't believe you found him.
Yeah.
I know. I was gonna say, how did you do that?
He was very hesitant at first to like respond. He was like, wait, who are you? Why are you asking these questions? And he's like, yeah, I know, and yeah, but that was pretty neat that he explained to me the whole situation. But
well, and that was a lesson learned, I guess.
Yeah, for him too, and for me too, because now I'm thinking, oh, my photos could be all over the place. Anything you post on Facebook, somebody could download, create a profile for you, which is scary.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Especially the women that are posting half naked pictures up.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Jeez, oh man. So, okay. So fast forward now to like the last couple of years, right? So, okay. So when I met you, you were single when I met you. You weren't in a relationship, but you were dating. I do remember you online dating then too.
Mhm.
I don't know which apps you were on, but I do remember you saying you were dating too. And there were a few people I heard some stories about at the time. But fast forward to like these last few years, what have you come across now since it's almost a decade?
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
there any difference?
I did have two long-term relationships through dating apps. One of them was completely unforeseen. It was like a fluke situation where I just so there's so this one was particular, it's called Clover. And this one anybody could send you a message. So, like this one young guy was sending me messages and I was just like goofing off with them, and that I don't remember. You met Joe, right? Joe and I lasted a year and a half. He
Yes,
was so
I met
much
Joe.
older than me, and we had it was just like, it was one of those relationships where neither of us expected it, to happen, but it did. And it was great. But then there were other guys that I met in the interim, super nice guys, some of them just weren't ready, for commitment, as like I was ready. I wanted to kind of take the next step and they weren't there yet. Which is understandable. Like I said, you just really know how to, after a while, you learn what to put on your profile, put the non-negotiables. Don't get offended if you match with somebody and that person never talks to you, because he probably never looked at the non-negotiables in the first place, or really took the time to read your profile. And so when you did match up, then they look and they're like, oh, this girl's not what exactly I'm looking for, like whether it's because I have kids or I'm looking for a relationship. It's just like, if they're not what you're looking for, don't force it. Like they're just another face, and hopefully it's their face. You don't even know if it's their face.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like the thing, and get it offline. Don't waste your time months on end texting somebody. Just like, if you're interested in me, let's meet, for coffee somewhere safe, for a drink. We both drive there together. If we don't like each other, say goodbye and never have to see each other again.
I really like that, because I feel that a lot of people get emotionally invested for months just online. I never really could understand how people just get so caught up. But at the
You know what
time,
though?
but
Yeah.
at the same time, I will say, if you're in a vulnerable space, and you have a lot of common ground and there's a synergy, I can understand how it could take it, can go to another level. But I do agree, don't keep that going for months on end. Take it offline, like right off the gate, because otherwise, then if you discover something that clearly is very disappointing, or they ghost you, you start to question yourself. And it's very common for women, because I find we are our worst enemy, because we are perfectionists, and we, for the most part, the minute someone doesn't move forward, no matter how confident you are, no matter how strong you are, it will mind fuck you in the worst way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it
what
hits
the
your ego
hell?
for sure. Oh
What
yeah.
the hell just happened here? What,
Yeah.
and so I just think, it's tough. I mean, I can't imagine, I'm not in that space, but I certainly think that I appreciate your story, because it seems like you really didn't take some of these negative experiences and just threw the towel in. You just continue to, kind of make light of it, sort of, which I kind of think that's great.
Well, what kind of mindset do you have to really be in to be like, that's, I think, one of the things that, and Jeanette, I can say, I never in a million years thought that I could talk to someone on a on a message or a text and have any feelings whatsoever. I just didn't think it was possible until it was,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's, and I understand that, but and I think what kind of mindset do you have to really be in to like go through and talk to multiple people at the same time, meet one, not meet the other, but really want to meet one, but then you end up going to meet the other one that you really didn't want to meet, right? But you really wanted to meet this other one. Like, where is what do you do to prepare for all of it? Because to me, it's too much. I can't even say it without stumbling over my words because it's too much. So who wants to answer that? Adrienne? Because she looked like she wanted to talk.
Well, I mean, I can say for myself, like I am just I try to stay open-minded. So I'm not like, okay, like, you know what? This guy said this and this, I don't like, and just be super picky about every guy that's on there. So I try to be open-minded. Like there's like height that I know I normally would not go for someone that's my height or shorter. I'm only 5'4", but I'm like, okay, let's just see what happens. You never know what's going to happen. So I try to just keep an open mind, and I don't know, I just keep an open mind and just talk and keep going. Move on to the next. Move on to the next.
I must be really close-minded.
No, I don't think you're closed-minded. I just think we're two different people. Like I'm more willing to be more open in that aspect in those areas than you are.
You think?
Yeah. 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 And I mean, it's crazy the stuff that you actually come across on sites, and even I mean, even through Instagram, people messaging me and trying to, friend requesting and then trying to message and talk to you. I'm like, I don't know who you are. You're nowhere around here. Like, I know what you're like, stop trying to catfish me. Like, just move on. Like, I know I had the same thing with a few times with the soldiers like messaging me and, pretending they were a soldier. And I'm like, this is not how someone from the United States talks. So I could tell this is not, but I don't know, I think feel like you have to be really ready, I guess. And I think you have to try to be more open-minded, to be able to talk to people and, keep it open.
Up closed.
I know you're
Apparently, I listen to you girls and I am really shut off from the rest of the world.
I mean, you start to learn the question, you start to like wise up and learn what to say and what to ask, which like, like how to call if somebody, gives you a phone number and you're like, this is totally an, like an internet number. It's not even theirs, or they start asking you, talk to me through like WhatsApp or different message, texting. And I'm just like, why can't we just text? And there's definitely guys out there that are, cheating on their wives, and guys are just looking for one thing, or the young guys looking for cougars, because they want to check off that bucket list, and you just have to, I mean, sometimes you just laugh it off.
Okay, what's the worst thing you come across? The very worst. And I know it's rated R, so I want to totally hear it.
All right. So I was talking to this one guy for like a month, and he would like send me flowers. He was super cool, super nice. Lived out in Pennsylvania, pretty far away. So we had planned to meet once and it fell through. And that's why he sent me flowers, to apologize. It came down though. He was like, listen, I'm a beta male. And I was like, what's a beta male? Has anybody heard of a beta male?
Oh,
No.
I never heard of it.
Do enlighten us.
Please.
So a beta male enjoys watching his woman have sex with an alpha male. So yeah, he wanted me
So
to
now I know
find,
exactly what you're talking about, because I've come across that, but they've never called themselves that.
So he wanted me to find a young, handsome, attractive person to have sex in front of him with on a regular, because that's what turned him on.
I've
What a freak.
yeah,
But it's not, I mean, there's guys have
Jesus.
fetishes, and we have
Yes.
to admit,
Oh
they
my
have fetishes,
God.
and some
I
of them
mean-
are just a little more freaky than others.
Bye.
And it's just,
Yeah, boy, bye.
But
wanna hear about my
don't
latest.
you think that maybe you should have the conversations and see each other for a long time before you just bust that out?
well, that's the thing, is you
Well-
don't want to waste time. Just straight up ask,
Right.
hey, listen, what do you want? Because
Right.
I'm not wasting 6 months to figure out that
Right.
you have like some crazy fetish, and you waste my time, because I'm not,
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys that are into like the whips and the chains and the choking and everything. You just have to put it out there.
Right.
And when you're on, they don't have any problem asking you to do it. So
No.
you just
I
have to
kinda-
have to
I
want
kinda
to ask
feel-
ahead of time.
I kind of feel though that these sites almost, it's an outlet for folks to kind of get buck wild and
Yeah.
live out fantasies with women and or men or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's almost like, you ever hear of those people who have like double lives, right? It's like, to your point, you have these men who love their wives. They're not going to leave them because it's safe, the whole nine. But they want to go out there and explore. And I just think it sucks for like women, like stand-up women like yourselves who have, um, who have standards and values and beliefs, and that you're
Yeah.
here for the right reasons.
There
to
are
find
apps.
somebody, to do life with, and then, but to have to go through that, it's just so sucky. But I guess that's the process.
Yeah,
right?
but
Yeah.
there are religious apps too for people that
Yeah.
have more sense, that want to do that too.
Morals.
And I gotta say
Morals,
also,
okay.
it's not only individual men that are on these sites. They're often couples looking for a third person. So
Yes.
you come across that as well. So you
Mhm.
really have to like just know how to weed through and swipe
I
left.
feel like it's so much easier to just go out to a regular place and meet people. What are your thoughts on that? Like, why do we choose the apps and not be organic about meeting? What's your thoughts on that?
Mhm.
I think it's harder to actually go out and meet somebody than it sounds. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy with my kids.
Mhm.
I have 18-year-old son in college, plays baseball. I mean, before that, he was in high school, he was football, basketball, baseball. So it was like year round with him and constant training. I
Mm.
have an 11-year-old that's, plays football, now is playing baseball again. And so I'm always doing, plus I work full time.
Mm.
So even to like go out, I feel like when I go out a lot of places, I feel like everybody's so much younger. I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel like everybody's like, there's more of a younger crowd all the time. And maybe it's just this area. And I won't go to places that are like the old hangouts in the city where I know that people that I used to go and hang out with or whatnot go there, because I don't want to be bothered with those kind of people.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just find it more difficult to find someone randomly. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe if I went to different spots, I guess, but I don't really go out that often. I don't have that much time, and I enjoy my quiet time, my alone time, and you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
find it
Mhm.
harder to
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
just-
That
that's
I
just-
understand. Now, see, quiet and alone time, I totally understand.
well, yes, but I mean that's what I mean. Like I find it harder because then I mean I have to go out. I gotta drag Andrea with me.
Yeah.
She's coming. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, but then there's no, well, listen, we go out and do our thing and we're not paying
But we're not
attention to
paying
who's
attention
around
to
us
anything else.
at
And
all.
that's the thing. We're just too busy having fun ourselves. So, and that's another thing. Is like I'm so bad at paying attention to my surroundings, which I really need to get better at. But I I'm just focused on with who I'm with, what I'm doing. I'm not trying, I'm not out there like, oh, look at that one. Let's try to go talk to that one. Or I mean,
Yeah.
So what
I
are, okay, so Adrienne, I want to talk about your online experiences. Yeah. I want you to tell, I mean, really, I want you to tell us the worst experience that you had too. So what is that? Which one?
Okay. There's so many. So, I mean, so I guess, to me, I guess the worst one was that that recent one that I was chatting with all day. And I was like he's from here, but he was in Myrtle Beach. He said, he has, a crew, they flip houses. I guess they had, I don't know, whoever buys the houses and they at first picks on, him and his crew. And so he started up here, he said, and then so he goes down to was it Myrtle Beach? I don't remember, somewhere in South Carolina, doing that. And he would stay down there for a little bit, a couple weeks, and then come back up. So he was supposedly down there, coming back, it was like a Thursday or something, and coming back up on Sunday. So we're just chatting all day at work, and while I'm at work anyways, he wasn't working, I guess. Well, what he said. And I mean, he sent me pictures of like, he was telling me like he had a girl and a boy, 18 and 20-year-old or something like that. And then the one picture was with his ex-wife, and then he sent a picture of his mother, and he's telling me like when he was younger how how his mom got pregnant at a very young age, and she worked full time, but she also worked as an escort and at night. So when he was younger, he would have headphones that he would sleep with till he was about 12, and then he would by the end of the evening after we talked all day. And like, I mean, it was like really normal talk the whole time. And I was like watching some like, this is just kind of weird. Like, I'm like, we're talking way too well. And I mean, and it wasn't like normally you could tell, like like Rosann was saying about how you can tell like grammar is different or the way they say things are kind of backwards. But I mean, it was really seemed normal from what I've experienced. So I was like, oh, maybe this guy is actually a real person. I don't know. So by the end of the night, he starts talking a little more about like wanting to meet when he comes back up, and then on his childhood and his I don't even know how to say this. I don't even know how to say this. So basically, fast forward a little bit to the end of the night, there was some information about sex talk, and he started talking like he had a crush. Basically, he told me he had a crush on his mom just from listening, and from when she was younger. He said he would never do anything like that. And then he was telling me how close his mom and daughter were. She's 18. And he's like, yeah, my mom's talking to my daughter about what's that site again? Oh, I forgot the name of that one site that people go and you pay for to
fans only.
Oh, yeah. So he's talking about that, and the next thing you know, like, and I'm starting to doze off, like I can just sleep anywhere. So then all of a sudden he's like, he's like, only he's sending pictures like, oh my God, OnlyFans. He's like, my daughter's on OnlyFans. He's like, she's actually making videos. And I'm like, oh my, I was like, oh wow. And I'm like, okay. So then he's like, I gotta say something to her. So he's messaging her, he said, as he's messaging me, and then he's sending me screenshots of their text. Then next thing, like, I fall asleep, I wake up, and he has this whole thing about like talking, like, oh, it got more detailed, and he sent me screenshots of his daughter having sex with some old man from this OnlyFans site, and he's sending me screenshots of his mom on the site. I'm like, what the hell? I woke up and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, this is like, it's crazy. And how he's saying like,
You didn't tell me he sent pictures. That's what you didn't
oh,
tell
I
me
did.
that.
You didn't,
No.
yeah, no.
I didn't know about pictures. I thought he just told you.
No, he told me, and he was sending me pictures. And I fell asleep. I woke up and I'm like, holy, like, he was just totally like, I mean, graphic pictures. Like, you
What
actually
the
see, and then he's saying like, because he's saying like he wants to see his mom's body and his daughter's body, and he's like in
Oh
this
my
text,
God.
yeah, in the text that he's talking back and forth with his daughter. I'm like,
That's gonna
I was like, your 18-year-old daughter. I'm like, what the fuck did this happen? I'm like, where did this all come from? Like, he was normal all during the day, and then all of a sudden, it just, like I said,
apparently he held it all in and then puked it all out.
yeah, he did. I mean, like, I guess he started feeling really comfortable with me, because I was like, I'm always like I don't judge people. I'm like,
Not anymore.
yeah. I'm like, people are, I was like, now I'm gonna start judging a little bit more, but I'm like,
Oh God.
everybody has their own thing, there's no right, wrong, whatever, do your own thing, whatever makes you happy. That's what you want to do over there. Doesn't mean it's for me, but go ahead. But I mean, I mean, I was like deleting so fast in the morning when I woke up, because I was like, oh God. And then I went on the, because I'm on Stir right now. It's supposed to be for single parents. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe this would be better, but it's off of match.com. So I went on to Stir, and his profile's gone off Stir. So I was like, I try to look up I try looking up the phone number. Like, I do try to do the, because I was like, this has to be one of those fake phone numbers or something then. And I couldn't get any type of, I couldn't find nothing on the phone number. I mean, I even paid to have it like researched.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
yeah, and they couldn't come up with nothing. So they refunded me my trial for $1 or whatever. So, but they because I couldn't find nothing. I'm like, and then I get an email, was a couple days ago, that actually said that there was, and this is the second time I got an email. The first one, I don't even know I don't even remember who the person was, and it's the same site from Stir, that it was like a fake profile, and they were just trying to, I'm like, no shit. I'm like, I would have reported that. But I was just like, I want this off my phone. I'm like, I don't want this on my phone. I'm like, oh my God. Because he's talking about like, I mean, and the screenshots of, I don't even know how he did, but he did it, but his screenshots of his messages with his daughter, I was just like I can't even explain. Like, I was so disgusted and appalled. Like, I can't even, like I said, I have an 18-year-old son. I can't even imagine anything like that. And even thinking of my child like that. I mean, and I'm like, obviously this wasn't even a real person. But
I gotta tell you though, you two are like the fucking FBI. I mean, to me, going through, looking at numbers, finding these people, scoping out the military people, trying to pay to have the reverse. It's too exhausting. But do you know how exhausting that sounds to me? It makes me tired just listening to it.
But it's not, it's not like
I got agita.
It's not like I've had to do this like a ton. I've done it like I said, when you start chatting with someone, even if it was like through Instagram, and start chatting with someone, you can tell when their grammar or their English is not the same. Like, they turn things around or whatever. I mean, I've had someone actually send me a message saying he only joined this for his friend. Here's his email, send him a message. And of course, his wife passed away and his daughter's off at boarding school and he's in the service. So, and he's trying to get to his daughter and he wants to come back. And I'm like, yeah, no, sorry, no. I'm
Bring
like,
me back to the group meetups. They got the meetup groups,
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
book lovers.
Whatever
I
happened to that site?
Like that's like real. I think there's no craziness there. You meet
I'm
up.
sure there's craziness there, but we just don't see it. But yeah, I mean, it's,
Bring me back to MySpace.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
know.
MySpace.
Like I said,
Well,
like,
if I could say something about Andrea saying, how the frame of mind that you have to be in, unfortunately, we are at a point where we are vulnerable and we're tired and you're up late at night and you're
Yeah.
it's like, well, do I go play Candy Crush or do I go mess around on one of these dating apps? And it's like, that's what it is. It's like,
yeah,
you choose to go and kill an hour swiping. And if you match, you have a couple laughs, texting
Yeah.
somebody, whatever. But there was one time, which was super funny because I was like in Vegas at like a conference, bored out of my mind. And I was just like, should I have one of those, what happens, happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas moments, So I'm on there because you could put a radius from where you are, So I'm like, I'll just see who's in the local, hotel. And so I did, and I swiped and I matched up with a bunch of people, but it was like, sometimes you don't hear back from them for like days, right?
yeah.
So I had matched with this guy. And then like the day later, he texts me and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I was in Vegas yesterday, but now I'm back in Costa Rica. And I was just like, oh, great, but it was like actually legit. He's like, no, I grew up in New Jersey though. He's like, I'm going to be visiting my family next month. I'll come check you out.
Did you?
He came to my house, which I was just like out of my mind to give this guy my
You
address.
let him come to your house? Oh, God.
Like it was really like I talked to him for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
made sure he was legit. So yeah, because he gave me his old background story.
Listen, we know Rosann's an FBI, by nature.
Dude, she'd sick every one of
guy
those
was like-
animals.
He was like drop dead gorgeous, showed up, his body like unbelievable. I was like,
Oh.
I can't believe this model just knocked at my door and like wants me. So I did have my Vegas moment in Jersey,
Hey,
the whole thing, picked me up, grabbed me as soon as I walked in the door, threw me on my bed. It was like the whole thing.
Oh, shoot.
I need to
Man,
find one of those.
Now,
moments
what
are
the
Vegas
hell?
now.
Why isn't that happening to me?
I
Oh, I
love
forgot. I don't
that
go
for
anywhere.
you, Rosann.
Yeah, no, that's our problem. Let's throw it home.
I forgot. I don't talk to anybody and I don't go anywhere. That's never
But
happening.
anyway, so sometimes you do have a fun,
Well,
episode.
I
They're
mean,
not
you do.
all bad.
No.
And then that same thing happened. I was like, same thing situation. I was like in a room. I was in Connecticut at a training session and I was like swiping, and at the time, so this happened over 2 years ago. And I swiped, and I usually keep my radius really close because I was tired of having to drive an hour to go see a guy. And I was like, well, how often could we actually meet? Like once a week wasn't enough, or, it was whenever he didn't have his kids on the every other weekend. And I was like, yeah, it's not my kind of relationship. So I wanted somebody local. And, but what happens with those dating apps is you just have to come within that radius, like literally drive by that person.
Yeah.
So now my current boyfriend, him and I kind of crossed each other on the thruway and we matched up. So he lived an hour away, but we matched up. So, but the same thing, I came straight out. I was like, listen, I'm not having one of these, 1 hour away type relationships. And, like straight up, like, how often are you going to drive out to see me? Cause I am not driving out to see you every
Right.
week, and so on. So it worked out because then he ended up moving in pretty quickly after that. But so we didn't have to do the distance thing. But I mean, things do sometimes work out.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in this relationship?
In June it was 2 years, so it's going on 2.5 years.
You see, Adrienne, you see, Andrea, there is hope for you ladies.
Hope.
Okay.
I'm not going on. I'm not
don't know
going
if
on
there's any
any
hope
of
for
that,
me.
though.
It's
Listen,
positive.
no,
It
listen.
only takes like 7 years for you to really work through all the weirdos.
I'm only on what year am I on? 2? I
Okay.
didn't start for like 2
You're a
years.
babe in the woods, Adrienne.
Yeah. I mean, I've been divorced. How long? When did I get divorced? 2 years ago? 3 years?
My sister
3 or
was only
4.
on for like 6 months, and now she's engaged already.
Oh, really? What
So
site is she
it does
on?
work for some people.
Yeah. I tell you, my first date I ever went on, and this is me trying to be open-minded because I think it was at least a year after my divorce, and my ex was already dating somebody like a few months after we split. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta get out there, and even just if I make a friend, whatever. Well, he was 5'4", so he's the same height as me. So I have an issue with, like, I really want somebody a little bit taller than me. But I was like, you know what? This could be a great guy. You never know. I'm just gonna stay open-minded. He lived in Hamburg. He was a little older than me, and I called him VP. That's we nickname each we nickname each of the guys.
Because she talks. Okay, let me just explain the reason for the nickname, because we don't nickname people just to be assholes, right?
No, not
So
being at all.
no, when we nickname, it's because I can't keep track of the people she fucking talks to. So then I'm like, well, what's the JOB? Okay, we're just gonna call him this. Okay, so VP was that guy because he was a VP at a company. VP was his name. So
Yeah.
that's what we called him.
Another one, yeah, there was another one that's named.
I mean, we had Border Patrol 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
we did.
I can't keep track. I just
forgot
can't
about that.
Yeah.
So I meet him, meets me in the parking lot, and it's like winterish time. So I have my boots on with heels. So I am a little taller, but we like, it was very easy to talk. I mean, the conversation just flowed so smoothly and easily. I mean, we were laughing and having a great time. And so we end up at the Cheesecake Factory is where we end up having our date. And now I don't normally drink. So like a couple sips and I'm already buzzed, and I'm not a big drinker. So I ordered one. I didn't really drink much of it. And so I was like, here, I'm just going to have water. So our waiter kept coming around, and like so he's like, we got to take a selfie. I'm like, oh my God, a guy that wants to take a selfie. I was like, what? He's like, I got to send this to he was in a group chat with his friends. I was like, this is like weird. Usually it's all the girls always talking about this stuff. He's like, they're not going to believe me. I mean, we had so much fun. We really did have a good time. And the waiter was like, how long you guys been together? I was like, oh my God, it's been so long. It's been forever. And he's like, oh, this is our first date. Like, I was kidding around. And he's like, are you serious? Like, they didn't even believe, because that's how well, like, we just got along and like how we just meshed. Well, after he had his few drinks, I was going into the bathroom, and he's talking to the waiter, right? He keeps talking. He's like, yeah, we just met, keeps going on. And he's talking about, like, experiences he's had. And then the waiter's sitting there with us while we're talking. And then he's talking, because again, he's 5'4". And he's talking about, all of a sudden he's talking about like him, like in the bathroom and like using a urinal, and how he's like his schlong, as he said, it just falls into the urinal. It's just like, meaning not because he's big, because he's so short that it just, for him to go up.
This is the conversation with the fucking waiter?
Yes. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I gotta go to the restroom. I'll be back. So I was like, okay, this is getting a little uncomfortable now. I'm like,
I would have left. I would have been like, bye.
I was like, but I'm like, I'm like, maybe it's just really buzzed. I mean, we actually went out a few different times. Like I said, I mean, he lived out in Hamburg, and I always had to go out there to see him. His kids were older. You know, Dominic was still in high school, so this is like the first person I ever talked to. You know what I mean? And I was like, I went to his. He had a condo, and I mean, it was really nice, and I mean, like I said, the conversation, like talking with him was real easy and, you know, was fun, but then it's just got too much with me having to always seem to have to drive out there to meet him and stuff. But yeah, he was, you you hear some definitely fun stories with some of these out there.
You never told me about the
Oh
schlong in
my
the fucking
God.
email. You
I-
did not say this stuff to me. I
I
am
didn't.
learning so many things I did not know tonight.
I told you about VP. You probably just don't remember that part.
I don't remember that part.
I know.
So
Yeah.
what's
Or
the
I blocked it
takeaway-
out.
What's the takeaway here, and what's the message you want to give to people who are in the same boat
Yeah.
in terms of they're single
Yeah.
or they're recent divorcees?
And they don't
Um,
know what they don't know what they want to do. They don't know how to do it if they're going to. I'm going to have both of you answer that question though.
Yeah.
So what's your advice? Adrienne, go.
I would say that if you're gonna go on to a dating app, that you have to definitely be ready to go on and be open. If you're not gonna be open-minded and like try to be open and meet different kind of people and different types, and it's not time, I think, for you to be on there. And you also obviously nowadays you really have to be very careful on what information you put out there, what information, you know, that you give, because there's a lot of scammers out there. Like actually, it's been most recent. I mean, previously, I don't think it was as bad on a couple of other sites for me, but more recently, it seems to have gotten worse with some of them, and it makes you, it kind of, I mean, it makes you feel like, you know, wanting just to give up and whatnot. But um you just have to have fun with it, you know, go and have fun with it. Because if you can't have fun with it, then there's no point in doing it either.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you, Adrienne.
You're welcome.
Rosann, give us some words of wisdom.
When you look up, you know, there's so many dating apps. I don't even know what's out now in the last 2.5 years, but you know, I happen to like Bumble because that was the one where the women had control over who would match. They have to make the first move, so you could really vent who you're looking, you know, who you're looking for, and make the first move. But you only have 24 hours, so you have to be quick on it. But and just take the time to really go through your profile and specify what you are, because like even for my boyfriend, I tease him and you know, like, you took a snapshot of my profile, like you have proof. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, like I was upfront with you. I wasn't playing any games, you know, no smoking, you know, just occasional drinker, you know, like I was very specific.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you cross that line, you know, that's you know, I was being truthful and honest to you, because so that's yeah.
So the key also though is, and I want to make sure this takeaway is said too. The key here too is when you start to have a conversation with someone, get them on the phone, have the conversation, see if it's worth a shit or not.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly before you spend time.
Yeah, because you also at that point you can, you know, if they're like fooling around with their wife, you know, if they're like, I can only talk between this hour and this hour, or only text me on this app, you can totally tell, you know, what the motives are. And just don't waste your time with, you know, with somebody that's not, I mean, if you're just out for the fun and have fun, it is what it is. But if you're looking for somebody, you know, to spend the rest of your life with, you kind of have to just, you know, be honest and upfront and just
Yeah.
cut the cords with anybody that doesn't have that same mentality.
I do want to say though, too, when I first started, I wasn't looking for a super serious relationship yet because I was only divorced for a year. So I actually searched to see which on Google, like what were the sites and what were best for what. And then you can actually tell you, they go through and they tell you like this site is if just for fun and just whatever. eHarmony is for real serious relationships. And so I was kind of trying to find one, some that were like kind of in the middle and more to the fun, but not just fun. But so there really is a lot out there that I've even never heard of some of these. And so you can, depending on what you're looking for, you can go out and search the specific app and, so you know what site to go to and what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you even have like Facebook has a dating app and it'll tell you if you have mutual friends. So you could always call your friends and ask, like, what's the deal with so-and-so?
Yeah.
I have a suggestion for our
Okay.
listeners. You can always book a singles cruise. And that is a great way to have a vacation, have fun on a cruise liner, and meet single people.
I like that.
Where are these single cruises?
I was gonna say, I
They
like that.
exist. They exist.
They do.
They do exist.
We're
Yeah.
we're booking
I'll
now.
get you the information. I'll get you the information. They exist.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for all that, but I
So
mean, I'll
do
go
it.
with my
Yeah.
girlfriends, but
You'll be my wing girl.
Go with Adrienne, and if you just want to hang out, fine. But
I'll just hang out and let her talk to all the dudes, and I'll just sit back.
That's not what happens though. That's not what happens though. Andrea's like the belle of the ball, like she's the party herself. So like everyone,
I am the party. I don't
know
need
you are.
anybody else.
I know. That's why I was like, when we go out, we just have fun and it's just us. We don't care about whoever else is around. So she won't just sit there and not talk to anybody. Don't let her fool you. She'll be talking.
You heard that,
I
Jeanette?
know.
I'm the belle of the ball. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's my fucking Cinderella shoes? That's what I want for Christmas.
With the pointed
Adrienne.
heel as she stakes them through.
I want some red shoes. Give me
this
some red
was
shoes.
a very insightful episode, especially for folks who are single. I think it was full of a lot of great stories. I appreciate you ladies both for being so transparent and open about your experiences. I believe it's important for folks to hear what it looks like on the other side. So, I mean, you guys are been through it. I mean, Rosann's been through it. Adrienne's in it still. And listen, I always say experience is your best teacher.
I agree.
I love that your experiences have taught you so much, and now you're able to pay that forward to other people who are really curious about what that looks like. So thank you for that.
Yes, education is key.
Yes, definitely.
I don't need the experience, but I am educated.
You
Yeah,
need
sure.
the experience, Andrea.
Learn from our
You
mistakes.
need the experience.
We'll see.
She's
We'll
out
see.
with me. She's like, who are you talking to now? Who's that? What's this? What are we doing?
I just like to, yeah, I'm nosy, but I don't know if I need to go through it. We'll see. We'll see. The future will tell. Right? And we're going to have to bring on some guys so we can hear their point of view on being on a dating app. Because I would like to hear their side of what they see. And do they see the same kind of shit? Right? The fake profiles that I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm curious. I'm curious. And I think other people are curious too on how that all looks, what's out there,
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
be careful. Everybody out there, be careful. That is the message.
That
The
is the
message is be careful. Watch your back. Pay attention to what's going on around you.
I always told my sister exactly where I was going and the name of the person that I was meeting.
Yeah.
Don't ever go out on your own.
That's
No.
a very
Giving
good.
somebody information.
My
Good,
Yeah.
my girlfriends have
good
me on
information to share.
like 360, so they know exactly where I'm at all times.
How
So
important. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so important. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Yeah. Safety.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's very,
definitely have
safety
to-
is
That's,
key.
yeah, especially, just where we are currently, the state.
yeah, it's
Um,
scary.
mental
And I
health
was
is real, and we've talked about that multiple times throughout the year. Um, people have come with a lot, and so you have to be very careful.
Yes,
Yeah.
Screening and all
Yeah.
of that. So you can
Yeah.
have
Yes.
fun, but just be, you know.
yes.
Be
And
vigilant,
if
protect
you need
yourself and pay
any
attention. Yes.
investigation tips, we will be sure to put Rosann and Adrienne's information.
Yes. If
The
you need an
description
if
of the
you need an
podcast.
agent to find your local predator, they will be on it.
Girls don't mess around.
Start getting references,
This is
call
what-
it-
This is what it's this only in Jersey and only in New York. Well, that's
Yeah.
all I have to say to that. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate you. We hope
Thank you.
that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and that you return back to perhaps talk about some other topics that speak to your heart. And remember, everyone, you're listening to Web's Women.
Where exposure brings strength.